Hello, welcome to a quick review of our new course, Implementing a Health and Safety Policy, a really important subject for health and safety advisors to be aware of, for anybody implementing or managing an occupational health and safety policy in the workplace. So it starts off with an introduction before going into the three modules. Module 1, the health and safety policy. 2, systems for implementing. That's where we look at HSG 65 and 45001, and then auditing a health and safety management system. So in module 1, we ask the question, what is a health and safety policy? Before moving on to the statement of intent, moving on to responsibilities, and then the arrangement. So we go through each of the areas. So if I look at the statement of intent, as we go through it, you will see I go through the HSE website, I go through what the HSE deem is fit for purpose for a policy before moving into documentation that I've got, and then comparing that against sort of a more in-depth occupational health and safety manual that follows 45001. So I use those examples. I go into the 45001 requirements within this, doing that comparison against HSG 65, which I think is really important. Then you've got your knowledge check questions before moving on at the end of every module to specific questions. Responsibilities, we go through the responsibilities, just going to mute that, and then really important section again, I dig in here, going into the manual, comparing against the HSE sort of example, and then really digging into sort of a personal manual of mine and really going through what that should look like, because as we know, there's requirements from, could be SIPs, could be clients, could be ISO. They're going to want a lot more in-depth than what the HSE is suggesting. They're not recommending it. That's really important, especially for writing risk assessments, as can be seen there. So that is responsibilities. On to arrangements. We look at the arrangements. Let's click on that, put it on mute. It's on mute. So we go through the arrangements section. Again, using the HSE guidance as that bit of benchmark before diving into a occupational health and safety manual that I use myself, making reference to SIP, as we can see as we go along there. And then I take you into the learning zone to PCR learning zone, just to dig in a little bit deeper to show you what those more in-depth arrangements could look like. Before moving on to module 2 recognised systems. So within this module, I go through ISO 45001, but also HSG 65, and just doing that comparison of the different elements and the different frameworks. So going through those differences there. Breaking down the ISO 45001 system before, let me move to the end, before just doing that comparison, continuously explaining, going through what that should look like, as you can see there, before again onto the knowledge section, knowledge questions I should say. Final module is about auditing occupational health and safety policy. Remember, the policy is implemented through the system, through our occupational health and safety management system. It's important to know that. It's important to know that. We look at 19,011. We look at what's required in terms of some auditing fundamentals before looking at various different types of evidence and ways to gather evidence. And that is it. I think it's a really good course. I've developed it for anybody who's involved in occupational health and safety policy development, but I think it's really good for those new to health and safety and give them an opportunity to actually focus on what should be in that policy. Well, I hope you do it, and if you do, remember, part of your payment will go to charity, and if you do it, let me know how it went. Thanks for listening.